Hey guys, Brett here. And in this video today, I'm really excited to talk to you about the 10 red flags that kill restaurant growth. I'm really excited to chat with you guys because if you know me, great. If you don't know me, I've worked with over 2,500 restaurant brands. That's not locations, that's brands. Pretty much all over the world, but mostly throughout the US and Canada. I have seen firsthand truly what separates the winners from the losers. Some context as well. I'm not a restaurant owner. I've worked a little bit in the restaurant space early on. My first job I ever had was actually at BJ's, BJ's Pizza. I had a great time there. My perspective is very different and unique from that of a restaurant owner. I am a restaurant marketer and tech enthusiast. I build software for the restaurant industry to solve big problems, and our agency, Dineline, is a restaurant marketing agency to help restaurants grow their businesses through digital advertising and a ton of other unique strategies. So let's talk about these red flags because some of them won't surprise you. Some of them will be, honestly, probably just a good reminder of like a couple things that you probably should be thinking about that you're not. Okay, so guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with number 10 and we're gonna work our way down to number 1, which I think is the most important. Number 10, no long-term vision. If your goal is only to get more customers, you're just thinking way too small. Because the best restaurant brands don't just chase deals daily, they build systems, they expand revenue streams, and they create long-term loyalty. So the best way I can explain this, guys, is you don't want to be just defensive. You don't want to wait for things to get bad and just try to get more customers because that's what you need to do. You want to find a way to get more customers, and then also like, what is making them come back? You know, is it your brand? Is something off about your brand? Is something off about your food and service? What are things that are going to instill something unique about you that's going to fulfill this long-term vision? What is like the ethos of your company? What do you want people to feel? What do you want to do in the next couple of years? Because if you're not thinking that far ahead and you're not instilling these roots into your business, you're never going to exceed to the numbers you really want. Number 9, weak team culture. Look, your team is the heart of the restaurant. If your employees don't care, your customers, they simply won't either. High turnover, poor service, and unmotivated staff. That's not just a staffing problem, it's a leadership problem. Something I read about recently and I love is that people follow great leaders. People run from leaders that aren't so great. You as the leader, you are setting the tone, and what you do should be echoed across your organization. For example, if the sign in the bathroom at your restaurant that says employees must wash hands has been sitting there for 4 years and it looks just disgusting and gross and you can barely read it at this point, like it's just so ugly and old, it's probably about time you change that sign. It's probably time you update that. And the fact that you don't care about that shows that you maybe don't care about other things, and you're setting the tone in your business, in your restaurant, that these things simply don't matter. You need to strive for perfection. You need to strive to be a better leader. As a CEO, I'm always seeking out help from other leaders in other industries. I'm always seeking out help to learn more on how to be a better leader. So invest in yourself and invest in your team, invest in training. It truly makes a difference. Number 8, no ownership mentality. If your first instinct is to hire someone for that instead of learning the basics yourself, you're setting yourself up for failure. Yes, delegation is important, but the best operators understand their business inside and out before handing things off. It's all situational too. Sometimes, of course, you just need to hire it out. I've always felt though, especially for my partner and I, Jace, we're business partners, have been for the last 10 years. And we've always really felt like at least one of us really wants to understand pretty much every aspect of the business. And you should be able to in your restaurant business. You should be able to understand every aspect of the business. One reason this is important, by the way, too, is let's say someone is really important in your business and then they quit all of a sudden. What systems were set up that they followed? What processes? If they quit tomorrow, would you be able to take over for a couple of days until you found a replacement? And if you found a replacement immediately, would you be able to train them the things that you had to train them on to be successful? So take ownership. Make sure your team takes ownership of things that they do and set up systems and processes around that. Number 7, no unique brand identity. Here's a hard truth. Great food, it's not a strategy, guys. Just having great food is not a strategy. It is a standard now in the restaurant industry. I strongly believe that we're out of business, right? A lot that probably should have been out of business, in my opinion, long before, and COVID got rid of the fat, for lack of better words. So it was a tough, rude awakening for a lot of businesses, but honestly, good food is just the standard now. You can't just rely on that, right? So if your restaurant doesn't stand out outside of just good food, it's going to blend in with everyone else. Customers need a real reason to choose you over your competition. Is it your concept? Is it your service? Your community involvement? Figure out your edge and own it. So you have great food and service now. That's your standard. What are you known for? What's your brand identity? What do people think about when they think about your brand? These are things you need to be thinking about. Are you fun? Are you different in some kind of way that no other brand is? Great. Keep doing that. Make sure that message is known. Number 6, no urgency equals no results. If you're thinking about marketing or waiting for the right time, you're already behind. The best restaurant owners don't wait. They test, they adjust, and they take action. You'll never have a perfect moment to start. The only bad decision is doing nothing. So this goes back a little bit to my first point too. You want to be on the offense. You want to be consistently looking for ways to improve your business, and you want to have an urgency about that, right? There's never really the right time. In fact, look, I've been in this business again for 10 years. I talk to restaurant owners all the time. There's always an excuse why they're not ready for marketing, or they're not ready to start this one thing, or they're not ready for this or ready for that. You got to be feeling the urgency to move forward on things, guys. Time is ticking. We're not getting any younger. And I read another quote recently that was saying, basically, there was a study done on a number of successful people. And some people have said focus is the number one aspect to success. Some people say, your network is your net worth. And what I read as of recently, and something that I really relate with, is those who succeed are ones who go from idea to execution quickly. It's the amount of time from idea to execution, that smaller the gap, tends to have people with a higher rate of success. For example, imagine 2 scenarios where there's 2 people trying to approach some problem in the business. And one person tries fixing the problem 10 times and on the 11th time gets it right. But the second person doesn't even make an attempt. And so the first person wins and they solve the problem faster. You need to think of yourself this way. Stop being so concerned with making the wrong decision and just do your absolute best, because look, sometimes it's not going to be the right decision. That's okay. It's a learning to move on to the next thing. Take your best shot. If it doesn't work out, try again. If it doesn't work out, try again. That's how I've done things, guys. When I first started in this industry, I had pretty much no experience doing marketing whatsoever. Now we have over 60 employees and have worked with 2,500 brands across the world. It took a lot of trial and error for me. I'm sure you guys have been through a lot of trial and error, but you got to have urgency to want to succeed. Number 5, no clear distribution strategy. A lot of restaurants think my food will sell itself. But here's the thing, guys, it won't. If you don't have a structured plan to drive foot traffic, online orders, and repeat visits, you're leaving money on the table. So by distribution strategy, I really mean sales strategy. Some things that might help is do you have a loyalty program? Is it working? I've looked at so many restaurant loyalty programs that are not working. I'm personally not a huge fan of loyalty programs, to be honest with you. Some people have success with them. Most simply do not, to be honest. Running effective promotions, right? Promotions can be great, but don't get in the coupon trap. Partnering with delivery platforms strategically. So maybe working with third-party apps like Uber Eats, trying to negotiate your deals to get better. So sales strategy and distribution strategy. What I always think about too, guys, is consider your business, right? All these different revenue channels. You have in-store customers, you have online orders, you have third-party orders, you have events, whatever. Which is the most profitable for you? Which is the easiest for you to accomplish right now? Which has the lowest hanging fruit? Have a plan in action for every single revenue channel of yours that makes sense. And when I say makes sense, don't try and just do everything just to do it. If your restaurant's not a great event space, don't do it. But think about where the opportunities are, and then think about how can I drive more traffic to that to grow and scale the business. Number 4, investing in marketing too late. Marketing isn't a band-aid for slow months. Please don't do this. So many people, they call our agency and they're like, hey, Brett, we're eating absolute shit. And, we haven't made money in the last 6 months and it's time we do some marketing. Dude, you're already too late. Sure, we're going to do everything we can to help you. But where were you a year ago? Where were you when the brand was absolutely killing it? And now you want to kill it even further to open up a second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th location. Just because you're doing well right now doesn't mean you'll do well in 6 months. Doesn't mean you'll do well in a year. Invest in marketing early. Don't invest in marketing when there's blood in the streets. Invest in marketing where there's opportunity. You're taking something that's good and trying to make it great. If you only start focusing on customer acquisition when business slows down, again, you're already playing catch up. The best brands market when they're busy, so they never have to worry about things slowing down. Again, if you don't know this, I live in Miami, and Miami, has a high season and a low season. I will tell tell you right now, in the summer, things really slow down. It gets hot. What you want to do is you want to focus in the high season. How do I attract as many customers as possible? And better yet, build a list maybe of customers so I can better market to them in the low season, right? Number 3, owners who ignore marketing and sales. Great food matters, but customers don't just appear. Marketing, branding, and experience win the game. The best restaurants don't just cook, they are consistently selling. So we've done a lot of marketing and sales already in this video, but are you as the owner focused on that? Where is majority of your time going to? Because if it's just focused on in-house and it's not focused on bringing new people in, and you're not looking at your distribution channels, your sales channels, your revenue channels, your marketing channels on a regular basis, if this is not a focus for you, your brand's not just going to miraculously grow. Sometimes it does, but it's rare these days. Remember, we live in a world where people look at their phones and decide where they're going to eat by looking at their phones versus just walking around. People don't just walk around anymore and say, oh, where am I going to go? Well, let's just walk around and see what smells good. Doesn't happen anymore. So if you're an owner and you're ignoring marketing and sales altogether, it's, man, good luck. Tough. Number 2, no profitability plan. Packed tables don't mean profits necessarily. I bet you this resonates with a lot of people watching this video. If your margins are razor thin or you're burning cash on discounts and promotions without tracking ROI, you're in trouble. A restaurant isn't just about the food, it's about running a business. If your marketing doesn't prioritize profitability, it's a fast track to failure. So couple things here. I spoke to a lot of restaurants about this, and it's like sad to me how little people know. But basically, I have found it very rare to speak with restaurant owners who actually understand which items of theirs are most profitable and which ones are not. A lot of this has to do with finally like your menu management and like how you organize your menu, what goes at the top, what are the first things people see, how do you complement your appetizers with your entrees. And this is maybe something I could talk about in another video, but you at least need to understand which items of yours are profitable and which ones are not. And if you're going to do promotions, like what is a great loss leader, right? What is something I can promote that isn't going to break the bank for me as the owner, but will excite customers who want to come in, right? So understand your profit margins, please. And finally, the most important one is no customer data equals no growth. I sat down recently with Dean Michael Chang, who is the Dean of FIU University, the hospitality program there, the Chaplain School hospitality program. And I asked him the same question. What's the most important thing you feel like in the restaurant business that people aren't thinking about? He goes, data, hands down. Hands down is data. It's not great food and service anymore. That's just a given. That's a standard. You must have great food and service. And if you want to compete and grow and scale, you got to have the data. You need to know who your customers are. You need to know where they're coming from. What makes them return? Where did they find you to begin with? How are they getting here? If you are doing marketing and you can't even understand where your new acquisition of customers is coming from, what are you doing? You're lighting money on fire. If you have a packed business and you don't know who your customers are and you have no way of remarketing to them, good luck. I mean, it's very, very difficult to grow your business when you have no data. Lucky enough, guys, I mentioned, I have worked with lots of restaurants. Data is the most important thing I'm talking about right now. Our software product, Dishio, essentially allows restaurant owners to collect data on every customer that comes through the business. And that allows us to remarket to them and bring them back. So for example, let's just say you get 15,000 customers a month to your business. And, once a month or once a quarter, you have some really great event. How do you market that event to your existing customers who came to the business? You should be doing some stuff in store, of course, I'm sure. But once that customer leaves, how do you reach them? How do you market to them on Instagram? You have no idea who they were. With Dishio, we're collecting social media data on the people that visit your restaurant so that you can run an ad later on Instagram to get in front of them. Why is this powerful? I mean, you could probably already guess, right? But if someone arrived and now I can remarket to them later something for, by the way, retargeting ads are so cheap because that's just how they are. Like I said for another video, it's a long topic, but basically when we have this data, we can do so much. We can retarget people across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Google. We can make them offers if we'd like. We can collect phone numbers and emails and do all this amazing things to bring them back, to better understand our guests. Similar to the same experience that you might have had if you were buying something online, for example, let's say a pair of of sunglasses, and maybe you don't buy those pair of sunglasses, but now you see them all over the internet. We do the same thing in the restaurant business, except these are people that actually came to your restaurant, and now we can bring them back a lot more often because we're consistently in front of them, right? So that way you can promote new menu items, you can promote events or whatever else you're doing at ease, and you can build an audience all in the process. So anyway, guys, I hope this video was valuable to you. It helped in some kind of way whatsoever. I hope at least one of these points really struck a chord with you. And if you have any questions about any of this kind of stuff or our software and our tech, as always, feel free to write a comment below. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed, and otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.